Black woman at table 11 black. Big, brilliant, and unwanted. That was the message humming beneath the chandeliers the moment Dr. Anya Sharma stepped into the Azalea Club. Conversations paused mid-sentence. Forks froze midair. The room didn't gasp. It tightened like silk stretched too far. She wasn't what they expected to see framed against velvet and gold. Not tonight. Not ever. Vivienne, the hostess, clutched her velvet sash like it might shield her from scandal. A waiter's hand trembled, nearly dropping a tray of champagne. Good heavens, someone whispered behind a fan. They're letting anyone in now. Anya had heard worse. She didn't flinch. She'd flown across the country to keynote the Global Leadership Summit. An astrophysicist, 42, respected, unbothered. But tonight wasn't about the stars or equations. It was about being left alone for one quiet meal. The maitre d', Marcus Thorne, caught her entrance like a scent he didn't trust. Tall, polished, precise. His eyes swept over her, skin too dark, body too full, confidence too steady. "Good evening, ma'am," he said with a syrupy smile. "Do you have a reservation?" "Just one," she replied, her tone even, her gaze unyielding. Marcus scanned his empty tablet, pretending to search. "Regrettably, we're fully committed this evening." However, his eyes flicked toward a cramped corner near the kitchen doors. "If you're willing to sit there, I might accommodate you." "That will do." The walk through the dining room was a parade of concealed sneers. A socialite shifted her chair away. A man at the bar smirked. Someone whispered, "Brave choice of outfit." Like civility was a compliment she hadn't earned. Marcus stopped by the drafty table. "A bit confined," he said smoothly. Anya's eyes met his. "Don't trouble yourself. I've carried heavier weights than a small table." He blinked, muttered something indistinct, and vanished. Her chair creaked faintly as she sat, posture regal, hands still. The air around her felt colder, stiffer, a climate of quiet exclusion. But she opened her notebook and wrote one sentence in precise cursive. "Some rooms test who you are before they know who you are." Her waiter arrived late. "Busy evening?" she asked kindly. "Yes, ma'am," he muttered, avoiding her gaze. She smiled anyway. "Thank you." Across the room, Eleanor Vaughn, silver hair, sharp eyes, watched with quiet fury. Her husband didn't notice, but Eleanor did. She'd lived long enough to recognize the choreography of discrimination disguised as decorum. Her granddaughter, Chloe, stared too, wide-eyed, innocent. When Anya noticed, she smiled softly. Chloe smiled back. The piano sighed through a jazz standard, elegant and empty. Anya's dinner arrived. Roasted quail, burnt around the edges, missing the saffron risotto. She didn't complain. She simply lifted her fork with the precision of a queen performing a coronation. That calm, the kind that didn't need to raise its voice, spread across the room like a quiet contagion. At the bar, Marcus leaned toward a colleague, whispering, "You'd think she'd at least read the dress code. Can't solve everything with a PhD." His companion chuckled nervously. The bartender, Leo, said nothing, but the silence that followed landed heavier than any rebuke. In the kitchen, a line cook named Samir caught sight of her through the swinging door. Something about her posture, proud, still, reminded him of his mother in the years she cleaned hotels that pretended not to see her. His knife froze mid-chop. Not tonight, he thought. The atmosphere began to shift, subtly at first. Conversations dipped, laughter faltered. Anya's poise had become a mirror, reflecting back every concealed cruelty in the room. Under that mirrored weight, people began to squirm. "She's still here," a man whispered. "Good," Eleanor murmured under her breath. The music changed. A cello now, rich and mournful, the kind that filled every corner with an ache no one could politely ignore. Anya closed her eyes, letting the sound settle on her skin. It wasn't armor. It was truth vibrating through air that had forgotten how to breathe. When she opened them again, Marcus was watching her, waiting for a misstep, a sign of inferiority. Anything. But Anya only lifted her water glass, took a slow sip, and set it down with deliberate grace. She'd been performing this quiet defiance her whole life. She knew its choreography by heart. Eleanor whispered, "That woman is going to change this place." Her husband frowned. "How?" "By making us see ourselves." In the kitchen, Samir plated a dessert, heart-pounding. Then he did something unthinkable. He walked out carrying it himself. Not for her table, but to be seen. To stand near her, if only for a moment. Anya looked up. Their eyes met briefly. Two strangers bound by the same, invisible understanding. "You've had a long night," she said gently to a young busser passing by. He blinked. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry for no need, she said. You're doing good work. Her voice carried farther than she knew. Across the room, a woman lowered her wine glass mid-sip. A man shifted uneasily in his seat. The chandeliers glittered harder, too bright now, too exposing. And though no one spoke it aloud, everyone in the Azalea Club felt it, the balance tilting. The reckoning had begun, and not a single person knew yet how far it would go. Dr. Anya Sharma raised her hand gently, stopping Juliana mid-sentence. Please, she said softly. There's no need to explain what I already understand. Her voice carried no edge, no visible resentment, but struck the manager harder than any reprimand could. The dining room seemed to lean inward, every whispered conversation suspended in the charged quiet. Even so, Juliana began again, her throat tightening. This treatment is inexcusable. You should never have been seated there. I should never have had to be. Anya replied, not unkindly. But tonight isn't about me, Ms. Hayes. It's about this place, and what it rewards when no one is watching. The words hung in the air, heavy and precise. Marcus turned from the bar, suddenly pale. His laughter died instantly. Juliana followed Anya's gaze toward him, and the truth landed between them like a verdict. Mr. Thorne, she said, her voice cold and deliberate, you will step into my office immediately after this conversation. He opened his mouth to object, but her look silenced him. The room had gone entirely still. Guests who had come to dine on status and exclusivity were now watching the collapse of both. Eleanor Vaughn, unable to contain herself, began a slow, deliberate clap. One, then another joined. Within seconds, the applause swelled. Not loud or celebratory, but reverent. It was a recognition of something rare, dignity unbroken and absolute. Anya's composure never wavered. You don't need to make a scene, she said quietly. Eleanor smiled. It's not a scene, dear. It's a correction. Samir emerged from the kitchen, uncertain but resolute, standing behind her like an unspoken ally. Juliana lowered her head. Dr. Sharma, if you would permit us, dinner tonight is already paid for. Anya interrupted gently, slipping her card into the folder. What needs settling can't be done with a bill. Her tone was not angry. It was final. Juliana nodded slowly, understanding the deeper meaning. As Anya gathered her notebook and rose, the chandelier's reflection shimmered across her face like a benediction. She walked toward the exit, each step deliberate, each stride echoing against the marble like punctuation marks in a speech only she could deliver. No one stopped her. No one dared. The door closed softly behind her, but its echo remained. In the silence that followed, Marcus felt the eyes of every patron on him, some accusing, others disappointed, most ashamed of their own complicity. For the first time, he understood the cost of his precision, his false politeness, his blindness disguised as equality. He sank into a chair, unable to meet anyone's gaze. Juliana exhaled, her decision forming instantly. Effective immediately, she said quietly to Leo. The service table is gone. No more invisible corners. Leo nodded, his expression solemn. About time. Outside, beneath the golden streetlight, Anya paused and looked back once at the grand facade of the Azalea Club. It glittered, but less proudly now, its luxury exposed for what it truly was, fragile, performative, human. She smiled faintly, tucked her notebook under her arm, and walked into the night, her reflection lingering in every pane of glass she passed. Inside, the silence remained heavy, chastened. The reckoning was over, but the memory of it had just begun.